Hey loved ones, I'm Lucy and this is Pussy Powered. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a few tips to unlock your G-spot pleasure. Yes, the G-spot does exist and every human with a vagina has one. So let's just get that straight real quick. Now, the G-spot is more of an area than a spot. Usually located about 2 to 3 inches inside the vagina on the front wall, sometimes up to 5 inches inside the vagina in some women. It's made up of spongy erectile tissue that swells up when blood rushes to it, aka when you're aroused. When you're not aroused, it's no bigger than the size of a pea, but when you are aroused, it can swell up to the size of a small coin. For a lot of women, the G-spot feels like a bumpy surface, whereas the rest of the vaginal canal feels smooth, kind of like the roof of your mouth, like feel that bumpiness? Yeah, it's something like that. However, not every woman's G-spot feels like that. I totally understand if there's some frustration in finding your G-spot, or for the men, it can be more elusive than the clitoris, which, by the way, if you want to know a lot of cool facts about the clitoris, watch this video. Alright, back to the G-spot. So while every person with a vagina has a G-spot, not everyone has sensation there. In fact, for some people with vaginas, that spot can be really uncomfortable or numb. And that's actually really common. It's also important to know that after you reach about the age of 30, estrogen levels begin to drop and the vaginal walls begin to thin a bit. You can find and feel your G-spot more easily. But age aside, there are so many other factors that can keep you from having a sensitized G-spot. And if you're not feeling pleasure, or if you're not feeling anything at all, or if you're feeling pain or discomfort in your G-spot and you want to feel pleasure in your G-spot, be patient with yourself. There is hope. For so long, when my husband tried to give me any kind of pleasure on my G-spot, it felt really uncomfortable. And then after having kids, it felt numb. But through doing the mindful exercises and practices that I'm going to share with you in just a moment, I was able to resensitize my pussy, including my G-spot. And now I have a G-spot orgasm almost every single time we have sex. And most mornings in my self-pleasure ritual, if I'm not going deeper. All right, so tip number 1, de-armor your pussy. I had to make this the first step because literally if your pussy is armored up and holding all this tension and unprocessed emotion and sex negative beliefs and sexual shame, then you are not going to feel pleasure in there. That is going to keep blocking your pleasure. Now, I created a whole video specifically for how to de-armor your pussy, so please check that out after this video and be sure to follow those steps carefully and patiently. Second, incorporate a yoni egg practice. A yoni egg practice is a powerful way to resensitize your pussy, strengthen your pelvic floor muscles, increase blood flow to your vagina, including your G-spot, which means more sensitivity and pleasure. Now keep in mind that it is really important that you use your egg mindfully. Don't just pop it in there and leave it on all day and night, because what can happen is the same muscles that will naturally hold your egg inside your vagina are probably already the strongest muscles in your vagina. So they may get chronically tired, and then you're not working the weaker parts of your pelvic floor. So always, always, always incorporate mindful practices where you are conscious of the energy that you are flowing into your pussy, doing mindful, conscious squeezes and releases, working on isolating different parts and flowing loving energy into your pussy as you are doing your practice. You'll benefit much more from working on those parts of your pelvic floor and vagina that are not as strong yet. And then if you want to leave it in longer as you become stronger and you have better control of the various parts of your pelvic floor, make sure that you do it safely and you always clean your egg before and after every single use. And for all things yoni egg related, be sure to check out my playlist, Yoni Egg Series. In that playlist, I've got various practices, breath work, meditations, and a brief little pussy workout that you can do. Third, incorporate a self-pleasure ritual. This is where self-exploration has happened without the pressure and the expectations to perform a certain way or to even come. And what naturally tends to happen when you have a daily self-pleasure ritual is you're gonna find spots to de-armor. You're gonna find spots that feel pleasurable. You're gonna notice the progress in going from a numb vagina to maybe feeling discomfort in some areas to de-armoring those spots and feeling pleasure. And within a self-pleasure ritual, you can go slow at any pace that your body is calling you to go. Now, before you go fishing around and trying to like touch around your G-spot, make sure you are super warmed up and super aroused. Maybe doing a breast massage like I talk about in this video, or doing some mindful breathing and flowing energy into your womb and your pussy like this video. And then once you are exploring the G-spot, take your time and go slow. Try different speeds, different pressure, different strokes. You might like going in a circular motion. You might like going slightly up and down. You might like going side to side. You might like pulsing. You might like some of everything. The key here is to explore with an open mind, pressure-free. Do what feels right for you, and then eventually as you resensitize your pussy and your G-spot, do what feels good. And if at any point you feel any discomfort, stay with it but slow down and return to the de-armoring process. Fourth, explore blended orgasms. Once you begin resensitizing your pussy and feeling more in your G-spot, it might feel so totally foreign, and a G-spot orgasm will feel quite different from a clitoral orgasm. And at some point you may be unknowingly blocking your own orgasm from completely surfacing because it might feel like you have to pee, or it might feel like some kind of like bearing down pressure. So to help with these transitions, this is what I personally did, and what I highly recommend is establishing these new neural connections for pleasure in your brain by doing the new stimulation with the familiar stimulation, like my finger motions. And this way the brain can begin to associate the penetrative motion and pressure and speed and just having that contact in there with pleasure. And eventually, with consistent patient practice, you can begin to have G-spot orgasms, which has a big payoff for sex, because while not all men's penises can reach the cervix or even the A-spot, pretty much all of them can reach the G-spot. I also want to mention that not all things stimulating the G-spot will feel good. And again, it's about whatever those neural connections are in your brain. If your fingers feel good, but a penis does not, and you want it to, then you may just need to practice that kind of fullness or thickness or hardness by using a dildo or a particular sex toy. My favorites are glass dildos. So smooth to insert, so easy to clean, and they just feel so good. This is the one I use when I really want to reach up against my cervix. And it also has a bulby end, which I love. And by the way, for more about having vaginal orgasms, not only specifically G-spot orgasms, but A-spot and cervical orgasms, check out this video. Alright, wild ones, that is it for today. Those are my top tips for unlocking your G-spot pleasure. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on sexual empowerment for women. Stay tuned for more. In the meantime, here's to your unleashing for a pussy-powered life.